All right. Hey, folks, it's Sam from Manifest back again with a interview series that started as I broke my leg and we were trying to figure out.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you didn't even know this. That's even better. It's evolving to behind the brand because the leg is slowly healing. But as you can see, there's still a crutch in the background. So I've been hobbling around and, what better way to pass the time than talking to friends about their brands and what's behind them. So there you have it. Kris Myllenbeck today is joining me. And Kris, you're the founder. Yes.
Pause. Kris Myllenbeck.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry.
No.
And
everyone gets it wrong, but because it doesn't matter, so I never correct it. But in this case, now it needs to be right.
You did. You know what? Let's not pause. We're going to leave that one on the record. It's Kris Myllenbeck. Yeah. I'm an imperfect human, and Kris is very forgiving. So, and I should know because Kris, you're the founder of Mylle Pools.
Exactly.
From which we can intuit that your name is pronounced the right way and not the Sam way. So welcome and thank you. And thank you for the correction.
You got it.
Mylle Pools are gorgeous. If you haven't seen them, you must Google them. Kris, where did this come from? They're the prettiest things I've ever seen. Your aesthetic should be everywhere. You've encapsulated in a pool.
Thank you. I'm so honored.
How did the party get started?
Yeah, so a long time ago, 2016, actually. I was here in the same townhouse, but up on our roof. So we live near downtown Seattle. Space is totally at a premium. And so we've got the tiniest little backyard and a little roof, and I wanted a nice pool. So I was looking for it. I was a stylist. So I knew how to find good things. I was pretty good at searching for the fine things. And I could not find a pool that I wanted to put on my rooftop that really matched my aesthetic. And so at that point, Instagram was becoming really popular. Things like the swans were selling and all of these really viral moments for in-ground pools. But I'm more people are moving to urban areas. More people have small spaces. Who doesn't want to have a beer and cool off in a pool? So there's totally a market for this. And so because being an idiot, I was just well, that'll be easy. I'll just call the inflatable pool people and put my designs on it. And then it turns out who are the inflatable pool people? And you have to have a whole business and understand how to import and export and manufacture and dye lines and all these things that I have since learned. But that's how we got started.
So, I mean, I didn't realize how similar your Genesis story and my Genesis story are, because yours started with a cool backyard pool and mine started with a moldy spatula.
Yeah.
We both went through the same, the market opportunity really was us,
yeah.
But was you and realizing that the thing that you wanted wasn't there, and that no matter how much Google foo you put at it, you weren't going to find the thing. And then, yeah, my joke is I can't make 10. I have to make 10,000. That was I called factories and they were no, girl.
That's what I learned too. Cause the screen print for a pool, it's a real large screen print. And ours are all custom and non-repeating and all these special things. So I was well, duh, we'll just do that. And it's oh, now I get why it's the same freaky repeating pattern and all of this. So our MOQs are also significant.
Woof. This is an off-piste question, so you don't have to answer if you're not prepared. But I'm a manufacturing, nerd. So what's the machine that these are made on? How big is that non-repeating printer bed?
So luckily it doesn't have to be the entire thing, but our pool is 65 inches around, right? Mm-hmm. So then it needs to be, if you open that up, right, and make it flat. So whatever the math is on that, I know it if I look in my AI file, and I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but that's what high school was for. You're a grown up.
Exactly. Now I have a computer and a calculator. But so that's the math, and it's not the exact length of that, because then we're getting into the most $1 trillion, but we can kind of parse it out into 3 different chunks, but then those chunks need to be different to live with each other. And so you're making 3 enormous screens that fit together magically. And
and that's how you
high school math
from scratch. Tell me about building the brand from scratch. And I love, especially now that I know how to pronounce your last name after so long of knowing each other. tell me about building your brand from scratch. And I love the genesis story of the name of the pools, and I love winky names, and you have one, but
Thank you.
tell us about where the business started and where the brand started.
Yeah. So coming up with the pool, that's where I knew I wanted to start. That felt like it was one of those things that keeps you up at night. I was like, why doesn't this exist? I know this could be a thing. And telling my friends, they were all like, oh, that could totally be a thing. So that felt validating. But I knew if I was going to really grow this business, it didn't just want to be about pools. I feel like there's a lot of beautiful inflatables in the world. People always ask, like, why aren't you making floats and arm things and this, that, and the other? And it's like, those are beautiful and exist, and we don't need to make stuff to make stuff. And so I wanted to come up with a name that was just a little open-ended and gave us flexibility to kind of have that functional things made beautiful, which I don't know, not spoiler alert, future hint, there's more to come.
Are you saying you're going the extra mile with your products?
Exactly. And so we named it Mylle, so it's open-ended. I also wanted it to be the first chunk of my last name because my last name is made up. It's like a few generations old. My great-grandparents made up Myllenbeck to sound more American because their last name was Anderson, and it was very obviously Danish. Which funny now, that sounds like
which is funny because it's so not anymore. Yeah, but
yeah. But if you meet anyone last name Myllenbeck, well, first of all, amazing. That's a real needle in a haystack, but also they are probably related to me because there's only like a handful of us.
Wow.
So I love my last name. My kids have my boyfriend's last name. There's like no one else who really has my last name. So I feel like really connected to like having a piece of my last name in the world.
Yeah.
So I stuck with Mylle. And then the other thing I love about the name Mylle is it's really unclear how to pronounce it. So a lot of people say Mylle. Some people are like, oh, is it French? Is it Miel? Like we get a lot of really good inquiries. Yeah. But like, I love that. Like brands I love, like Loewe, right? Like people love to not know how to pronounce things, and it's half the fun, and we're not too cool that we're going to roll our eyes if you get it wrong, because of course you're going to get it wrong, but it's just Mylle.
I mean, so another overlap for us, because my first brand was called Gear, get it right. And everyone was like, is it Gear? I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
There was like a Target aspect to it. And then we got a lot of Gers.
That's what I always said. I own plenty of Ger things that I now know are Gear.
You know, it happens to the best of us, Kris.
Yeah.
And with Manifest too, you know, there's like, is it Mivenfest?
Yeah. It's very Bulgari though. Like
it really, that
like the V.
This is why it's good to have a stylist as a friend.
I get it. I get any harebrained idea.
So
I like them all.
That's a big piece of the uniqueness of your positioning beyond just the product itself. It is the brand, and it's creating, I mean, maybe let's call it flavor, right?
Yeah.
Interest or pause.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just making it more than about the pool. Like it's not for people who are even just starting with a pool and wanting it to be more open-ended. It's not for someone who's looking for an inflatable pool real quick because their kid's asking for one, or because they want an inflatable pool. A lot of our customers are people who are like having a barbecue, or like, so for example, we sell at MoMA. So it's MoMA shop. So it's people who are just kind of out shopping like, oh, like that's really chic. Like I never thought about having an inflatable pool in my backyard, but like how, yeah, duh, of course. So yeah, it's kind of the surprise item.
Not so secret super genius here.
Exactly.
Well, again, you know, that what we're trying to do here is share stories behind the brand, and to an extent, like teach people how to do it. So the first two things we've covered here, you know, where do ideas come from? And sometimes they just come from like a moment or a failed Google search. And then you know, how do you create interest? I want to move to the next step, which is like, where are your customers coming from? And for people reading or listening to this, like what would your advice be for them thinking about how to get their first customer and then maybe like their 1,000th customer? Was that different for you? And how is it evolving even today?
Getting our first customer and marketing is where my expertise is more than manufacturing. So the manufacturing took a very long time and a lot of calling on experts, but like getting this thing off the ground was the part that really excites me. So my history is working as a stylist for campaigns and catalogs. So I spent a long time at Nordstrom on staff doing that, and then went freelance kind of in tandem with starting Mylle, and worked for other companies. And so I really knew the photo shoot aspect, the kind of building the site, the creative handle. And then I also knew from styling and requesting samples, kind of what a pitch deck looked like and what line sheets looked like. And so, and I knew what the expensive ones looked like. And so I just kind of modeled Mylle after that, and hit the ground running. It was like, the worst that can happen is you get a no. And so I set up our site, I set up our Instagram, and then immediately started reaching out to press and reaching out to retailers. And, you know, our margins weren't so great because we were ordering small amounts. So I knew I wasn't going to make a ton on wholesale, but like the halo effect of being able to say that Mylle is the pool that sold at MoMA store, like that really tells the story of like, oh, it's not a kiddie thing. And so I put a lot of emphasis on doing that. And I think some of that's chalked up to just like chutzpah and believe in like, hey, this is a cool thing and people want to know about it. And so like, you know, Googling on LinkedIn, like what's the email address for this writer at Architectural Digest, or, you know, really digging in, because you can look on all of these sites and media and see like who the writer is. And then, you know, someone who's writing about something in your area, and just reach out to them. And I think the thing to remember, because I've heard this from other friends who are in media, is like people are looking for the next new thing. Like you're not bothering someone by giving them info, and they're
helping them
also
do their job.
Exactly. And you're also not like pushing the story in any sort of direction, because if they see it and they're like, this is stupid, like they're not going to write about it. They're not even going to respond. And even if they like it, they're probably not going to respond because it's really hard to get through. But like, it doesn't hurt just to say, to put together a pitch deck, tell about the brand, tell about the founder, tell about the styles, tell about different ways to wear it. So reaching out to press and just letting them know like all the aspects of your product that are interesting and maybe they hadn't thought about. That also makes their job easier because they don't have to reach back out to me and ask for an interview or different things. There's like quotes in there, there's sound bites, there's use cases, there's interesting things about the product, and just passing it off to writers and seeing what resonates.
Yeah. And I think you're right to point out that there's not necessarily, maybe there's definitively not a silver bullet at the beginning. It's just hit the pavement with your thing and do a little bit of low key stalking across, you know, whatever editors or publications are the most interesting or relevant for you and your brand. And like, that's the way that the cognoscenti are doing it too. Like that's what highly paid PR people are doing on your behalf. And there's no reason why, as a solopreneur or as a business that's just getting, you know, its feet under itself, that you need to overpay for something that you really can do yourself. That is the secret. Just, it is like a little bit of sweat equity, maybe a lot of sweat equity.
Yeah, a lot of sweat equity. But if it's something you like doing, then it's nice too. And I think the other thing that's interesting, because you mentioning like, that's what the big agencies do, is I have a friend who works in social media and PR. And when she went to school, and it was kind of like, I guess she would have gone to school in like 2012. So like, Instagram's happening, but still kind of like pre-social media and like that everyone has a platform. But like what you learned was like, if you're starting a business, like just come up with a fake assistant or a fake PR person to give you more credibility. So you're reaching out to people like, I'm the PR department of Mylle and this, that, and the other. And I would say that's not good advice, because it's really been helpful for me just to like cards on the table. Like, this is a small company. I think it's so cool. I really want it to succeed. You know, these bigger companies, like now there's some big box stores who've knocked me off and all kinds of things like that. But like, they do have a big press department and they're sending like a really swishy press email. And so mine's beautiful. Mine shows that like, we're working hard on this and it's a thing, but it also shows there's a person behind it. And so I think that actually was really helpful. It's like meeting these writers and just being like, I'm begging you to tell my story because I'm so excited about it.
Right. Yeah. Just be you is like a totally
the most annoying advice everyone always gives. Just be authentic. And you're like, okay.
You know, I think so often brands have this allure to them that feels highly manufactured or contemplated, and that's not entirely true. Like, brands deserve a lot of thought going into
too much thought.
Maybe we should talk about you're making some adjustments to your brand, which we can talk about or not if you want. But you know, it's coming from somewhere. It's coming from a heart somewhere. And so both things can be true. You should think about this thing. It is a manufactured separate entity, but also it comes from a place of authenticity. And that's what people are reacting to. And that's really, as humans, at like the human editors that, that we're all pitching to, like asking them to help another human being is a lot more interesting than like asking them to help some headless thing. But tell us, if you want, about your rebrand ish.
Yeah.
Adjustment. What do we call it? It's not a rebrand. It's
it's just an evolution. Yeah. So it's like, I love our logo. I love the squiggle. That certainly adds to the confusion of like, is that Nubla or is that something to make it pronounce like Mylle? But we've had it since 2017. We started working on this, and I like things to evolve. And I think there's a way that brands kind of change over time. I mean, even McDonald's, right? You can tell like the 90s splashy McDonald's ad from like the retro. And so it's just time for a refresh. And it's been exciting to kind of think about how we play with color. Like when this brand first started, I was like, we have to have a black and white pool. Like nothing was cooler than just like a black and white everything. And now like there's a time and place, but I like the black and white, like against some greenery and some craze. And it's actually looking very black and white behind me, but I swear some of that's green. It's just looking dark. But so it's just, the subtle evolution, and like people get bored of things, and I'm a person and I'm ready for the next. So stay tuned.
I'm really excited to see. I've seen previews because of course you and I have.
Yeah. That's the other thing is like, as a small business owner who's doing a lot of things by myself, I really have prioritized hiring people smarter than me. And, I have like great designers helping me with this, and I have great fulfillment partners and other partners. And so trying to keep up with it all on my own, things get a little behind, but then things get a little ahead. And so with the rebrand, that's been interesting because I wanted to like get this beautiful thing just bucketed and passed off, but it's like the train's still on the tracks. And so we're implementing some of it before there's a full brand book, and like just learning to be okay with that and moving things along.
Yeah.
Progress over perfection.
And right. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good or the very good, because you might do this again in 5 years or 10 years or never, but
or 3.
It's just, we're all growing, and the brands can grow too. And I think sometimes like anthropomorphizing brands really helps in that context. It's like, you don't have to expect a person to be the same forever. You don't have to expect your brand to be the same forever. Just like, let's do the thing of being relevant. And I mean, also you're a stylist, so you know how to stay contemporary.
I mean, that's what brings me joy. And that's a thing I've had to think about a lot as a business owner of like, just because you can do everything doesn't mean you should. Like I've Googled how to run every single part of this business or learned from friends or a million things. It's like, okay, no, it's time to get some things off my plate. But one thing that brings me joy is thinking about like how trends evolve. That's what my whole career's been.
Well, and you're tugging on, I think, the thread that I was hoping that we would tug on at this point in the conversation, which is around scaling, because it's you, but you found a way to scale you, and you're starting to scale the brand. So let's talk for a minute about your approach to scaling. What's been the scariest part about that, the best part about it? And again, as usual, like just dispensing as much free advice as possible.
Yeah. I mean, Mylle has been brought to you by free advice. Like the main advice I have to you is don't be afraid to ask advice and always try to be the dumbest person in the room. Like all my friends are way smarter than me. And I love meeting new people like who know how to do all these amazing things. And that's how I figured out how to do amazing things. It's not because I knew. So Mylle scaling starting in 2017, it's all bootstrapped. I've worked as a stylist to kind of fund it, didn't take out a loan, didn't do anything. And it was like any cent we made on the pool, we put back into the business. And so at first the experts I'm hiring were like my friends who were photographers. And like, even though I was paying them the saddest salaries they'd ever received, it was basically me transferring over part of my day rate that I could afford to let go of to them. And just so they knew they were like, a prioritized employee or partner. And so kind of starting by hiring those experts to make it beautiful and get the website up and launched. I also spent money using like a brokerage to import the pools because I wasn't sure how to deal directly with China to make sure that we were passing regulations and certifications and phthalate free and all of that. And so that felt like money well spent in like I need to hire the expert here, not the assistant, to do the grunt work. I need to find out how to do this. So that was kind of my first ask for help. Then as things started scaling, I was selling more out of my house. Everything was stored like all throughout my miniature townhouse, like on the landings and like a little bit in the garage. It's hard to find space, but we did. And so I was shipping out of here, and like the big upgrade was switching to ship station so I could like print instead of hand write. Like we're talking baby steps. Then, so that's kind of flowing well. It's getting bigger, but I'm still working part-time as a stylist. And then COVID happened, and no one needed a stylist. Every photo shoot had been completely shut down. Like you couldn't even get into a mall to get clothes. Like it's done. And so
no windows anymore.
yeah. There's like not a way, like we're not going to shoot an Xbox commercial with a bunch of Old Navy stuff because none of it, there's no infrastructure left. So I spent about a week panicking, and then it was like, no, I got to get this pool thing off the ground. Like this is now or never. And so I was able to work with some photographer friends and kind of get in their studio and 6 feet apart masks and the whole thing, and get that up and running. And we ended up selling out really aggressively. And so I put things on the site saying like, we'll ship out on this day, but everything sold out. So then all of a sudden, as soon as the pallets arrived to my garage, I had thousands of orders to ship by myself in like 2 days. And people are constantly emailing like, where's my stuff? So I was too afraid to hire anyone because it's COVID. And I was too out of my depth. I'd never hired people other than styling assistants. And and I had just had a baby. So I was also very sensitive to like bringing COVID in the house. Right. So I had my parents, who are also a sensitive COVID population, help me. And we set up everything in the driveway and shipped all the orders from there. I was printing things from ShipStation. We're 6 feet apart. You know, people don't think about that each pool 7 pounds. So when you've got 1,000, it's like a lot of heavy lifting, and it was gnarly. And so we did that. Yeah, it was strong, like nursing a baby, lifting pools, like realizing that your regular USPS carrier doesn't want to like pick up thousands of pounds. So then you got to like get onto the back end of like USPS while like the infrastructure's crumbling. So it was a gnarly summer. And since we'd sold out, I had to figure out how to quickly get our restock back, which we were able to do, but it was more. And I was like, we can't fit this in the driveway. How am I going to make this bigger? And so I had a dad friend that we connected because we needed to do emergency like nanny share pod family. And he had just stopped working for his startup, had just closed. And so I was just kind of like, hey, how did you like scale to this huge multi-million-dollar company? Like, I just need help. I'm losing my mind. And he first told me like, you just got to get into third-party fulfillment. Yeah. And that just sounded so scary to me at the time. I was like, I couldn't possibly do a thing like this. And then he asked me how we were packing our pools, and he like almost somersaulted off the sidewalk. He's like, everything we were doing was so high touch and taking so much time. Yeah. And he's like, you really can't keep doing this. And I was like, we have no choice. So he could tell I was in a panic and couldn't really do anything. So he connected me with a friend. We moved into a warehouse. I signed a lease for like a month-to-month lease. Like on a Thursday, we were in the next day, and then the pools came and we started shipping out of there, and doing it at a bigger scale, still with parents, sometimes hiring freelance. It was completely untenable because I'm still running the business, but it's spending 8 hours a day doing all of this pool packing and dealing with logistics. And we were shipping a lot to like Conran shops and things overseas. So like exporting was new to me. Like it was just, I'm having a panic attack just going through all of it. So it was just one of those things. And of course, as a good entrepreneur, instead of thinking like this is batshit, stop doing it, I was like, I'm just so inefficient. I can't believe I can't get this all done. So anyway, the next expert I hired was my friend who got me into the warehouse and was giving me all sorts of help, was like, you just got to get into a 3PL. So I hired his old COO from his last company to interview a bunch of 3PLs and kind of find the sweet spot of price, but like custom to deal with like someone so new and stressed. And so we moved in, and that changed my life. The other thing we did was my friend who kept refusing to work with me, I finally needled him into helping me for a quick contract to tighten up our manufacturing. And so he'd spent a ton of time in China, always dealing with like really technical manufacturing and sourcing. And so he was able to help me broker those conversations and make sure we were producing things to the right quality, but also do things like have your things boxed at the factory. Like you shouldn't be boxing them here and unboxing them and reboxing.
Right.
And like all those super dumb moments. And like, you can ask the factory that, like, just deal, like they're your valued partner. That's why you chose this factory. And so that changed a ton of time. And then from there, we just started tweaking and making everything better. That's when things started to really like, okay, this is a business. I've scaled it to where I can at least wrap my head around it. Now, how can we make it better? And there were a lot of learnings there. Like our freight forwarder was better than not having a freight forwarder. Our 3PL was better than not having a 3PL. But like now that I've switched, they were both kind of horrible. So like, yeah. So Sam, you might remember meeting me to talk about product development. And then a week later, me calling in a panic saying my 3PL was closing down and I needed to move to yours. So that has also been an enormous game changer, just working with partners that actually know what they're doing and make your business better. So yeah, we're in the fine tuning stage. We're out of panic and into the good, into the strategy.
Best day ever.
Yeah.
Which I always say with, a little bit of hesitation, because my joke goes, the day after the best day ever is the worst day ever. When you have to figure out how to deal with your success, which is the story that you just told us that we both went into panic sweat over.
Yeah. So that's the detailed
version.
version. Enjoy.
That is why we're here, and you and I are here together. I mean, because you can help other people do this now. I mean, the advice that you're dispensing, it is invaluable. I mean, there's no playbook for this. And one of my, I don't know, like intrinsic motivations is to try to make a playbook for it. It was so hard. What you did was so hard. And so, I mean, so much blood, sweat, and tears going, so many late nights, so many friends called in an emergency, just all of the panics all at once, rolled up in a ball and thrown down a hill for years at a time. And maybe it does have to be that hard. It's certainly fun to look back.
Some of it doesn't have to be that hard. Like I think when I first got a routing guide for Nordstrom, it's like multiple 200-page documents. And I'd never seen a routing guide before. So that COO I had hired, I was able to have her help walk me through it and kind of show me what to do. But like we had 9 big pallets of very heavy pools going out to all these different things and learning how to do that routing guide. And we're trying to saran the pallets together and things that we were just so bad at and like didn't need to be doing. Like, the 3PL has the saran machine, like you've already sent to these routing guides, but it's like when it's hard, it is so hard. Well, and it doesn't need to be. Or maybe it's
I hope our gift to the next generation of entrepreneurs is that it doesn't need to be that hard.
Yeah. There's someone to ask.
Kris Myllenbeck did it, so you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a couple minutes left. Tell me quickly slowly, but you have 2 minutes and 45 seconds to tell me.
Sorry.
It's around the corner. What are you most excited about next for yourself, for Mylle, for the brand, whatever? All 3.
Yeah. So this is the first time I've had the bandwidth from hiring. I guess I've hired performance marketing, social media. Like I've really been able to put some experts in place. And so now I'm finally having time to do all the other product ideas that I've been excited for. And that feels good just to be moving this into what I wanted it to be. And also working at this 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Like it's no longer this urgency job, but it's like, it's a real career and it's a real manageable strategic thing. And that has been very exciting this year.
Well, congratulations. It's so exciting. I am like Mylle's biggest fan. So I'm watching every turn eagerly and honestly trying to insert myself wherever I can, just because it's fun to try to help and building with friends is really, really cool and kind of sharing the load. So thank you for letting me personally be a part of the Mylle story and the Mylle journey. And thank you for sharing it with everybody else here.
So gladly. Thanks for letting me be part of it. Right. And then I also have to add this just as a funny aside.
Yeah.
Is I was talking to Mark at Slowdown.
Yeah.
who you also know, the other day, and he was telling me I was employee of the month because I've like given him so much good advice, and it was mostly in reference to getting him set up with you guys. So
oh, that's
all
very
hail.
kind.
Thank you for giving me the title of employee of the month by recommending you.
There's a placard on the way with your name.
Yeah. I was like, I know you're in Australia, but you're going to need to ship the cup. Like, I need the coffee amazing. Cup.
That's very cool. Yeah. I mean, and we'll wrap it here, but you know, the other fun thing that's happened for Manifest somewhat selfishly is that the friend network has, I mean, there's so many cool people that we get to work with because you hopefully, because we mostly do a good job, or because when we do a bad job, we're good at cleaning up our messes.
Yes. Which is a huge thing.
You know,
most people aren't good at that. That's a huge.
We get to meet more cool people like you. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Love to be part of the scene.
We're going to get kicked out here. So I'm wrapping it.
Yep.
The thing is literally going to kick you and me away. So I'll see you on Slack.
Okay. See you on Slack.
Right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.